Hi, I'm Norman Perillo, a furniture designer maker at Perillo Design and a woodworking educator author at WoodSkills. And today I'd like to talk about a new portable tool case I'll be building over the next week or two. I'll show you an upcoming image of the actual tool case, and it's a tool case that originates from a Yeung Chan design. I had taken a furniture-related course with Yeung Chan about exactly 20 years ago at a furniture making school, a local furniture making school, and I was completely in awe of this portable tool case he brought along from San Francisco, and he traveled with it to teach and had the tools he used the most in his hand tool woodworking. Hand planes, saws, chisels mostly, and some measuring and layout tools. So I was in awe of it, and I told myself I'd like to perhaps build one day, and that time has come. I'm going to be going through all the steps in my build, and not too much detail, but an overview initially, and then all the subsequent steps on building it, and I'll show the first part of the possibly three-part series, and I'll be talking about how I laid out the tools and how it's critical to lay out the tools for your own, the tools you have in your own hand tool woodworking, your own chisels, saws, because they all come with different lengths. Some handsaw lengths and chisel lengths have been standardized, but some manufacturers don't follow any conventions, so they have longer ones or shorter ones. It depends on what you use. I'm going to be using this portable tool case when I travel and give woodworking demonstrations and teach woodworking techniques, hand tool oriented woodworking techniques. So I've assembled most of the tools that I'll be using. I'll have a couple of jigs to bring along too, but these are all the tools, the important tools that I use in my hand tool woodworking. So it's going to be an interesting build, and something I've wanted to build for almost 2 decades now. This is a book, one of Yeung Chan's, I think, his only books. So I actually have a signed copy here from that very same class in 2004 in Almont, Ontario, Canada, and it was something to Norman. I hope you like the idea of my book. Enjoy woodworking. Good luck with your tools. I appreciate coming to my class. So that's interesting. There's an image. Here's the image. It's an image of myself with Yeung Chan, standing next to Yeung Chan, along with that portable tool case. Now, what I did at the time is I took some rough dimensions of the exterior dimensions of the case, the depth, the two sides, the depth on both sides because they're actually different, the width and the length of it, but I had not taken some of the inner compartment dimensions of the dividers, but not everything. So I'm working by eye at the moment. I'm basing everything on a photograph or two and what I remember of the tool case. But the photograph is sufficient enough for me to work with, along with the dimensions I've just described. So it's going to be exciting for me. You'll see in the first part of this video that I already have everything laid out, and it's taken me almost a day or two to lay everything out to what I prefer in a layout. And it's also similarly based to what he had in his own portable tool case. I'll have some concerns about the weight, but I think he addressed it by making it structurally strong by using glues where you normally don't use glues. So I'm going to be implementing that criteria in the build. Along with that, it's mostly hand tools in there and layout tools. The second or third video we'll delve into the actual build itself after I've broken the wood down from a plank down to usable pieces, and I can work with the pieces, dimension them correctly, and create the exterior frame for the two sides of the portable tool case, and also start working on the dividers. So it's very critical that I get the dimensions right. I'm Norman Perillo from WoodSkills, and I'd like to talk about a few woodworking books I've written. My recent book is Quiet Woodworking in an Unquiet World. It talks about my movement to hand tools From high-tech to low-tech, a woodworker's journey, which chronicles my journey from my former high-tech career to my current furniture making career. Along with that, I offer courses through woodskills.com. The courses range from a basic woodworking course right through to furniture design and a comprehensive design and making course. All books are available in both print and digital format. So as I mentioned the first installment of this video, I was going to create a portable tool case out of an exterior of walnut. After having further examined the walnut planks, I don't think it's possible. There's too many imperfections, too many flaws to work around. If I use both planks, I was intending to use just the one plank, but then the two planks. And so with the same result, I just don't have enough clear wood to be able to accomplish this. So I instead use some black limba. It's an interesting wood. I've used it on some cabinet stands in the past, and I happen to have some. So I just purchased one more piece to complete the wood I need for the exterior of the portable tool case. And so I've already subdivided the wood. It's very straight grained wood for the most part, which is nice. I don't have to work around any imperfections or knots. And it's just a little bit of sapwood to deal with and hardwood. So I can cut that off or use it, depending, I'm not sure. But I've laid out the pieces I need already, and I'm going to be ripping this down into usable chunks that I can then resaw down to my dimension. It's 3/4 inch wood now. So what I'll do is do this, and I also intend to use that walnut. I'm going to be using the walnut in the interior of the cabinet because I want to actually use that walnut for something. So I'm going to be using it for the interior of the cabinet to lay out all the divisions. I've resawn the boards down to approximately 9/16, a little fatter than 9/16 each, because the ultimate thickness will be 1/2 inch, uniform all around for the components of the two cases, the narrower and wider case. This is what I've resawn. I do have some extra pieces I can work with in case something doesn't work out. So it's more than enough. I need 8 pieces, so I've got about 10 or 11. Now the added bonus of using a bandsaw to dimension is to bring down the boards from 3/4 to a little fatter than 1/2 inch, or all the veneers all the veneers I've recouped from the cuts, and these are they're fairly decent veneers, so I could use these as part of the cabinets if something goes wrong, or do something else with them. But they're nice uniform veneers, black limbo veneers I could use for another project. The advantage of using a bandsaw to bring the thickness down of a board, instead of running it through a thickness planer repeatedly. So what I normally, this is my normal system, is I remove as much wood as I can with a bandsaw, and then finalize the thickness with either a jointer plane or just running it through up a thickness planer for a pass or two, and then completing it with a jointer plane. So I'm going to let these boards acclimate for about a day. There is built up tension in every board. Possibly not these, they're more of a sort of a tropical wood. They're resistant to that sort of thing, but because of how the fibers are arranged. But I'm going to, regardless, I'm going to let all this sit for about a day and then do the final cuts, because I've left some extra material on each of the boards. I'm going to determine the straightest portions of the boards. What I like about this black limba is the grain is uniformly straight, no imperfections or knots to work with. It's a very nice wood, actually. It's not quite as pale as maple. It's sort of between a dark and a light wood. So I'll let this sit for a day, and then I'll continue. And then I'll continue with the dimensioning and start with the dovetailing of the case. So I'm preparing the individual components. I've already dressed them down to perhaps 5 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to be completing the surface prep using hand planes. In this case, I'm using a low angle jack plane. So I'm going to be dressing both surfaces of each of the components to give that hand plane finish. This will bring it down to the final dimension of thickness, which is exactly half an inch for each of the components for the case, for both cases. This is the narrower portion of the case, so I'm almost done on this one. Considerable work to do. There's quite a few of these, 4 per side, so total of 8 on each side. So. I forgot to mention another reason I hand plane the surfaces after running them through a planer to close the dimension, and I bring it down maybe a 1/16 or close to an 1/8 down with my hand plane, is because this particular wood, the black limba, has interlocking grain. So when you're running it through any sort of planer, it's hard to gauge the direction you should be planing it in. Unlike, for example, domestic woods, cherry or maple, that have their grain in a certain orientation or certain grain. So because it's interlocking grain, it's actually set in different multiple directions. So it's hard to determine where you'll get tear out. And you might have tear out in one section of a board and not in the other section of a board. So it's critical to actually follow the running it through a planer with running it sort of a smoother or long jack plane along the surface to ensure that it's level and the tear out, any tear out is gone, because you will get tear out with interlocking grain otherwise, so it needs to be addressed. So I just thought I'd mention that in case somebody is wondering why I'm doing this by hand afterwards, and that's the reason. I would normally do it by hand anyway, but this is more critical with any boards like mahogany or black limba with interlocking tropical woods or exotic woods with interlocking grain. So I'm trimming the components now down to their final length, each of the components, which is a little bit over 16 inches for each of the tool cabinet sides. So I'm going to be sawing them by hand and then completing or dialing in the measurement on a shooting board for each of the components. So this is just oversized length now. So this is a little bit over my final dimension of length for each of the components, and then I run it through a shooting board, trim it exactly square so I can start with the dovetail work. I'm at the shooting board now, and this is where I finalize the actual length and ensure that each of the ends is exactly square to the sides, to the faces, and to the edges, because it's critical in, when you're doing dovetails to have that. I think we're okay here. So I just want to ensure that what I've just done is correct. So it's square all around. So we're okay. And the length is okay too. I just continue with each of the other boards. I'll have my boards fully dimensioned in length, in both length, the width, and the thickness, and their ends are square. And this is critical again for dovetail work to have this. So I'll continue with this, and then we'll move on, and I'll set up for doing the dovetails. So please subscribe to my YouTube woodworking channel, where I share more of my woodworking techniques, my woodworking philosophy, my thoughts on woodworking, and all the challenges I've experienced, and I introduce some of the new forms of woodworking I've discovered. And also visit woodskills.com, where I have a good selection of my books, both in print and digital format, on woodworking, and all my online courses, and I also offer some woodworking plans. I have maintained a regular blog on what I've got going on in my workshop and in woodworking in general. So enjoy.